Welcome back to Unraveling Human Physiology, where we try to make physiology easy for you to understand. Hi, in this video I'm going to tell you how pH affects the enzymatic activity. Many organic compounds have acid or base groups, so if body pH changes, their ionic groups will change. If pH changes, many body processes can be affected. For example, proteins are formed by amino acids. Amino acids are compounds that have an amino terminal group, which is a base, a carboxy terminal group, which is an acid, and a side chain R that could be either neutral, acid, or basic. When an amino acid is free, you will have in an equilibrium the carboxy terminal group in the acidic protonate form, or its conjugate base without protons. And in the amino basic group, you will have an equilibrium with the form which is not protonate and the acid form which has more protons. During peptide synthesis, the amino terminal group of an amino acid reacts with the carboxy terminal group of another amino acid to form the peptide union. In this process, water is lost and both extremes are joined. They don't behave anymore like acid or base. But you still have an acid in the one extreme of the peptide and a base in the other extreme. To know the overall charge of a peptide or a protein, we have to consider the charge of the R side change. R side change can be either neutral, acidic, or basic. So the overall charge of a peptide or a protein is the combination of the charges of all the amino acids that form this peptide or protein. Proteins are not just a sequence of amino acids, but they tend to fold into the space to form three-dimensional structures. These structures are very important because they determine the function of the protein and also the way one protein interacts with another protein. An important factor to determine what is the three-dimensional structure of the protein is the R change of the amino acid that conform the protein, because they can be positive charges or with negative charges. If pH changes, these charges could change, and this would lead to a change in the structure of the protein. The 3D structures won't be the same, and that can result in a loss of function of the protein or a loss of interaction protein with another protein. There are many ways in which pH can change a protein. It can change the structure, it can change the interaction. If it is an enzyme, it can change its function. If it is a channel or a transporter, it can change its activity. Sometimes the change is because of a change in the protein structure, as I explained you before, but sometimes the change is because just of a change of charges in a tiny little place. Every protein has an optimal pH where it can function, and this pH depends on the protein. For example, the optimal pH of a lysosomal proteins, which is a place which is acid, will be acid, and the optimal pH of a protein in the blood, which normally is 7.4, would be 7.4. Proteins are not the only compounds that can be affected by pH. For example, in lipids, we have triglycerides. Triglycerides are molecules of glycerol united with 3 molecules of organic acid. When they are forming the triglyceride, they are not protonated, and it's like if they are a base. When pH changes, the organic acid can be liberated and be protonated. Finally, we have nucleic acids that are compounds that have a sugar, which can be a ribose, like in RNA, or a desoxyribose, like in DNA. Sugar gives structure to the nucleic acids. We have the base, which can be cytosine, adenine, guanine, thymidine like in DNA or uracil like in RNA. Bases store the information of nucleic acids. And finally, there is an acidic group of phosphate that can be either ionized or protonated. Normally, this group is ionized, giving the nucleic acid a negative charge. That's why most of proteins that are joined to the nucleic acids, like stones in the nucleus of the cell, are basic proteins. Summing up this part, we can say that pH is minus the logarithm of the concentration of protons. Protons are very important because they are very reactive. And if pH changes, that means that the concentration of protons changes, many body processes can be affected. Principally, we have proteins that can change its structure, its interactions, or its activity. Or you have lipids and nucleic acid that can change its interactions. If you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe to my channel, and activate your notification to know when my next video will be on. Thanks, bye!